All right, this is a nothing. This is a throwaway. This is just a story. I was a narcotics detective for a long time, and I looked exactly like this when I was a narcotics detective. Maybe I had some longer hair. I had more hair, definitely, but the point being, I was pretty clean. You couldn't take a middle-aged, I'm sorry, you couldn't take a middle-class kid out of Western New York and stick him in the middle of Florida and expect him to buy meth like he's used meth in the past. I found that out the hard way. So what I got good at was doing the probable cause for search warrants or doing the probable cause for wiretaps. I ended up writing a couple wiretaps. And those are very intricate, very thick, voluminous investigations / affidavits that you have to put in front of a judge. So they definitely test that's kind of like I would almost say like the major leagues of investigations. So I'm saying all this because I was in a deposition one time. In Florida, like if there's a felony crime, the defense gets some kind of discovery. They get a crack at talking to the detectives and tearing their report apart before it goes to trial. In fact, sometimes that's going to weigh heavily on whether the state takes it to trial or not. So there's a certain attorney here. He's a bulldog. He's who all the traffickers hired because he was pretty good at wearing you down. But I had a unique approach when it came to dealing with him. And we were in a deposition one time, and he asked me, it was like an ounce of Coke. And he told me, he's like, hey, did you fingerprint the baggie that after you made the purchase? And I sat there and thought about it. I looked at my report and I said, no, I don't think I did. And he started digging into me. Now, in a deposition, the defense attorney's in there, a court reporter's in there, and the state attorney is in there to kind of just like referee things a little bit. And then, of course, you're in there, and you're being deposed. You're having to answer these questions of the defense attorney. And it's all on the record. You're sworn in, the whole 9 yards. So I said, no, I don't think I fingerprinted the baggie on this one. And he said, so let me get this straight. Is it your procedure to not fingerprint the baggie? And I was like, I don't think there's a procedure to not do anything. I mean, I just didn't fingerprint the baggie. And he said, okay, so you do recognize the importance of this, that, we're looking at this client of mine being charged with a felony crime. And if you had fingerprinted the baggie, you would have seen that there are no fingerprints of his that belonged on there or that were on there, and it could have exonerated from this crime. And I said, yeah, conversely, though, I could have fingerprinted it and discovered his fingerprints on there, but it's moot because I didn't fingerprint it. It's an error in judgment, I guess, whatever you want to call it, but I didn't fingerprint this baggie. And he's like, are you sure you didn't fingerprint the baggie? I was like, I'm positive I didn't fingerprint the baggie. And then we moved on. And a couple minutes later, the deposition ended. This guy, I'm telling you, he's hard. He's like a wizard. He plays tricks with your mind while you're in the deposition. And when we left, I walked out the door and he chased me down. This attorney, he's a defense attorney. He's on the other team, right? He's on the opposition. He doesn't have to do anything to make me better. In fact, it's his job to make me worse in certain instances, especially in court. So he stops me in the hallway and he's like, hey, detective, I just want to tell you, don't ever lose that. You stuck with the truth. The truth was ugly in this instance, and I wasn't trying to trick you, but you would be shocked at how many cops fall for this, where they back themselves into a corner and they can't get out. So they tell this little blue lie. That's my term, not his. They tell this little blue lie to get them out, get themselves out of a jam. So if you had just said, yeah, I fingerprinted the baggie and no fingerprints came back, arguably, we never would have found out either way. But you were honest enough to say, no, I never fingerprinted the baggie, and this might be a bad look, but it's just not how it went. He said, don't ever lose that. Don't ever lose that integrity. Don't ever lose that honesty, and you will go very, very far in this profession. And I always appreciated that advice, and I always stuck to it. Any prosecutor is going to be able to overcome your mistakes, but you're never going to recover from being considered untruthful or investigated for being untruthfulness. It's going to get you kicked out of court more often than not. And how are you going to swear to the next search warrant if they don't trust your the validity of your integrity? So just a story for the young cops out there, even for the citizens that think that, we play games with these warrants or words or whatever. We're held to so many standards, it's not even funny. We're held to constitutional standards and laws and everything else. And there are some very good attorneys out there that are watchdogs. And they're very, very good prosecutors that won't prosecute your case if there is an issue with it. So just keep that in mind. Just something from Drew, crime official, just an almost 29-year cop trying to give you some advice. Take care.